by my serving this 10-day term, it contributes to any kind of legislation protecting newspaper sources, then it will all have been worthwhile.
Writer, producer, broadcaster, a journalist of uncompromising integrity, a champion for the rights of reporters, and a nationally recognized defender of the First Amendment, a loving mother, a doting grandmother, a friend. MarieTorre was all of these things. In her life, she rose to heights only dreamt of by women of her time. From covering entertainment to being one of the first women to report hard news. From unparalleled glamour to the shocking reality of a 6x8 jail cell. And yet she was always inquisitive, always curious, always ready to talk to presidents, spar with the greatest boxer alive, or leap to the top of a tall building in a single bound. MarieTorre was born June 17th, 1924, in Brooklyn, New York. She decided early on that she would be a journalist. From the New York World Telegram to the Herald Tribune, where she became one of the youngest feature editors in history. She soon found herself writing a column on some of the best-known personalities of our time, from Marilyn Monroe to Eleanor Roosevelt, Montgomery Clift to Harry Truman. But family was always important to her, and in 1948 she married Harold Friedman, a producer. In 1957 she had her first child, a son they named Adam. 13 months later, Hal and Marie became the proud parents of a daughter, Roma. As important as family was, Marie loved her work. She was seen covering entertainment news from Wall Street to Broadway. One night, with her deadline only 2.5 hours away, Marie was frantic for a lead for her daily New York Herald Tribune column. Her husband Hal phoned and mentioned that he had heard rumors of trouble between CBS and Judy Garland. Marie had her story. What she didn't know was that her column was about to change the face of journalism forever. Instead of reporting the news, she had become the news.
Congress shall make no law abridging freedom of speech or of the press.
The First Amendment, freedom of speech, grants us the right to talk freely. Whether petitioning City Hall, having a discussion at the corner bar, or meeting with our friends in our homes. Those same rights have always been extended to the press, but they haven't always been honored.
I was the first reporter to go to jail for refusing to reveal a news source.
The reporter, MarieTorre. The source, a CBS executive who told the reporter for publication that singer Judy Garland was giving the network a difficult time during production of a TV special. Garland sued. But when Torre declined to identify her inside contact, she went to jail for contempt of court.
If, by my serving this 10-day term, it contributes to any kind of legislation protecting newspaper sources, then it will all have been worthwhile.
After you serve your 10-day term, and if you're again ordered into court and told to reveal your source, what do you intend to do?
Well, I'll worry about that when I get to it. I've just got the 10 days staring me square in the eyes, and I'll face the future when I come to it. See, the trouble is, we're guaranteed the right to print the news in the Constitution. Some people say that that right is just to print the news, not to gather the news. Well, how could you print the news without first gathering it?
The immense amount of newspaper, magazine, and television coverage had propelled Marie to the forefront of the public's attention. Newspaper and magazine writing offers were plentiful. But Marie had always been interested in television, and when KDKA-TV in Pittsburgh called and said that it would be interested in getting a woman to cover hard news, as KDKA put it, like a man, as well as possibly giving her a chance to be the first female anchor person in history, it was only a matter of time before Marie and Hal decided to pack the family and say goodbye to New York City. Not everyone agreed with that decision. It wasn't easy.
Bill, you remember when I started, how terribly nervous I was, and I used to say to you...
When you started?
But I used to say, Bill, how do you get over it? And I have to say, you weren't much help. You said, well, yeah, there's no shortcut, and there certainly is no shortcut. You just do it.
But Marie was a fast learner.
I'm sure there are times that you think of Al. Joan, do you feel especially lonely when you do think of him?
It's a very lonely life, actually, when you close that door at night and you've been busy all day. It's extremely lonely. But you just keep going and be grateful for the loveliness you've had in life and take it from there and try and create more loveliness for other people the next day.
And she soon started doing stories that were usually assigned to men.
Don't you just a little bit nervous, perhaps not as sure of yourself as you might sound in public?
Well, there are possibilities that my prediction may not work out, but just in case of that, I have told the public and the world that if you don't fall in the round I call, I'm catching the next jet out of the country.
Like my attire? This is nothing designed by Dior or Igor Cassini. It is called a gi, and it is used in the art of judo.
Whether she was on her way to the White House or a reporter Marie on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, she was characterized by her warmth, intelligence, and ready wit. It wasn't long before she was given her own show. A journalist, first and foremost, she had her opinions and was not shy about expressing them.
There's still a tendency to cast women from the, well, the criteria really has to do with looks more than ability. The other day I watched this this new girl on the Today Show, Jane Pauley. She was on an interview show, and it was just amazing to me how it was. We were at least 20 minutes into the interview, and not one word had been asked her about her news ability. It was all about when she goes to the hairdressers and where she buys her clothes, and just the light, frivolous kind of information. But it was as if there's no concern at all whether she had any ability as a news interviewer.
In 1972, after battling heart disease for most of his life, her husband Hal died. It was a shattering blow. And not long after that, her mother, Rose, also succumbed to illness. Without her husband or mother, and not long before the children would be going to college, Marie began to wonder about the future. She had become an institution in Pittsburgh. Beloved by the masses and respected by her peers, she nonetheless decided it was time to go back to New York City.
All I can say is just thanks, really. It's been so beautiful knowing you, appearing before you. I'm going back. I'm back to New York, a lot richer, believe me. And I'm not speaking of money,
I guarantee it.
A lot richer in spirit than when I came here. So thank you very much.
Back in the city she had been born in, Marie continued to do what she had always done best.
You have vivid likes and dislikes, not only about movies and plays, but also personalities.
I don't care much for Warren Beatty as a person. I think he's a big phony, and Barbra Streisand is just a very rude girl without much class.
But interviewing people wasn't enough. She wanted to write and produce. And that's what she did. she wrote and produced an array of award-winning documentaries. But something was missing, and work had never been enough. In 1985, Marie remarried and moved to, of all places, a farm in Salem, New Jersey. There she continued to write, produce, and narrate award-winning documentaries. In one of her finest pieces, Marie covered the work of Jean King, a woman who trained dogs to work with handicapped people.
I had a friend who said that my life was saved on the day Shanty was born. We are partners, you see. I'm not the boss. I've often told people that Shanty isn't my dog. I'm her person.
By now, Marie had become a grandmother. Although she never stopped working, she now spent as much time as she could with her grandchildren, Callie, Alejandro, and Allegra. MarieTorre died on January 3rd, 1997. She wanted more than anything to be remembered as a loving mother and a good journalist. In both cases, she succeeded beyond her wildest dreams. If it can be said that the more you are loved, the richer you are, then MarieTorre was among the wealthiest people of our time. In her life, she managed to touch so many people in so many different ways with her kindness, her knowledge, and her wit, that her loss will continue to be felt as long as people read about journalism and journalists.